I saw going on at the office besides the Surviving Barstool.
I think it's going to be the best product that we've ever put out at Barstool.
And they're making each other cry.
There are going to be friendships completely decimated by the show.
Obviously, White Sox Dave's the person out.
All right, welcome to episode 1, the New Amsterdam Vodka, the Navter Show, the after show for Surviving Barstool. First episode just aired. I love it. I think it's fucking incredible. I've been hyping it up, and I think it's still lived up to all my hype. We got Jeff D Lowe in here, who is not only a Barstool in and out, through and through guy, but also a fan of reality shows and the voting off type shows. So we had to bring him in here. And Feits, look at you. This is like the epitome of what makes Feitelberg uncomfortable. I feel like these shows are the worst for him, especially when he knows the people involved. So let's get into it. Initial reactions for episode 1 of Surviving Barstool.
I've been dry for the weight loss challenge. Not tonight. I was like, this is awful. Oh my God.
So it's tough because we got to toe the line, Kevin, because we've seen obviously, I mean, you've seen everything. I've like kind of been up by tribal like the whole time. So like we kind of know, so we got to toe the line. But I will say this, if there's far cringier, harder things to get through than just them voting for like it gets, there are so many uncomfortable things that happen. So many.
Dude, that was a walk in the fucking park compared to what will happen the rest of this week. But I do have to tip my cap to Logan and the producers because and whenever you watch these reality shows, you know, they build it so perfectly and the right cutaways and the right filming for everything. But that build up to White Sox Dave, you know, like we all have a 1-7 shot, but now I don't know. And like, well, maybe I am getting voted off. Maybe I am the sucker. And it just was pointing to one thing.
I do have to give Dave a shout out in the sense that actually, I mean, obviously Dave was the star of this episode. It's unfortunate to see him go. Because let me tell you what, I'm a sleepwalker. The greatest lie I've ever seen. Bro, you were just blackout drunk. Like there was no way. There's no way that was a sleepwalking episode. Dave was blacked the fuck out and just like went to piss on the street. That was not sleepwalking.
He came back. I believe they said his feet were like filthy dirty because he was walking around barefoot. He was a lot to handle. I think he was a lot to handle.
That was not made. So that wasn't made for camera either. This was a text that we got from Nick. Nick sent this to us at 8:51 the next morning, said, didn't sleep for a second. White Sox Dave called me at 4 a.m. out of his mind, locked out of the office. Barefoot and feet filthy, said he slept walk across the city.
There's no chance he was sleepwalking. He might be a sleepwalker. That was the classic, I'm in college. I got up to take a piss. Turns out I pissed in the corner, not in a toilet. Like, Dave was just walking around a town he doesn't know anything about. He just blacked out.
We got a comment here from Riley Banks. If you want to follow along, you can comment on the YouTube. Got to give Dave credit for being wall-to-wall unaware here. I mean, just no, you know, in a game of wits, and that package at the very end there, you know, like, well, you know, they voted me off because they know I'm the biggest threat. They know that I was going to take this thing down. Hey, maybe Cowboy, maybe that's what it was.
He was very quick with the female handwriting, though. I do have to give him that.
The fact that, and knowing what was about to happen there, the fact that he thought it was going to come down to like 1 vote male, 1 vote female, it's like all of the handwriting, Dave. All of the handwriting is for you.
But what he was also quick with was calling it female handwriting when it was his. Yeah, I mean, it's like chicken fried goes, that's female handwriting. Like he had that ready to go.
Jeff, what overall other impressions of the challenge? What'd you think of Trista and Kelly forming an alliance? What else did you observe in today's episode?
I mean, the two things that stick out are obviously the two reality people. Kelly is very good at confessionals. She watches a lot of reality TV. You can just see she knows to pour out like all the nonsense. Like the confessional is not a place to like play the game. That's the place where everyone afterwards is going to see what you did. So she crushed it in those. Tommy, I wrote I kind of knew like the hidden idols and stuff, and like the second we all started talking beforehand, like where the like there was no chance Tommy was going to go right after idols. Like that was going to be the first thing he tried to do, was to try and get an idol, which I think he said he wouldn't do on the actual show because you don't want to be like the nerd going looking for the idols right away. But I think he knew that probably no one else knew what was going on with like the rules of Survivor. He's like, he had the massive upper hand. So he put on a clinic, but I think everyone watching is going to know, like, how long can he do that before? Like, I bet there are people watching who are stunned that he really wasn't discussed to be like the first guy to go. Cause I think many people figured, why would you not get the Survivor guy out?
I think that a couple things. I think that Tommy had a huge advantage knowing the show. Not only is he like a freak and obsessed with it, but the other, like almost every other member of the show had like maybe seen a couple episodes. So it's really not even close. Also, the whole roster is relatively new or not spiteful asshole members of Barstool. Like if me, you, Dan, if the rest of us are on there, Tommy's going home first and foremost only because we want to crush his soul and his dreams. And like no amount of money is worth it. So I think Tommy's very lucky in both those departments.
That's classic, just like friend stuff. Like, well, you like if Jeff D Lowe had if there was a vote around Barstool Sports and it was like, hey, this person gets to be in a Star Wars movie, vote them in. Jeff D Lowe's not winning. Ken Jack's not winning. Robbie's not winning.
We're all done.
He's not winning. No one who genuinely enjoys it will be allowed in.
It would probably be you. Like you would win because they'd make you sit on the set in a stormtrooper costume for like 8 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a huge advantage in that department. He does now have the idol. And at this point, I don't think anybody even knows what that means other than Tommy. So
that's another large part. Is like, even if someone would be like, I think at this point, if they'd be like, well, what is that? He could say anything and he'd be like he would just get away with it.
Oh, Tommy can start making up names, rules, phrases, vocab words, and no one's gonna know. So he has the huge advantage there. I think what's interesting about this whole process is, when you watch a regular reality show, it's all strangers. Nobody knows anybody. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows anything about anybody. Not only do the contestants know each other, but we all know them as well. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we know Tommy smokes. We know he has a huge advantage because of his reality TV show background. We also know Kelly Keegs, huge advantage because she's an absolute fucking lunatic, a absolute psychotic, manipulative bitch who can take on anyone mentally. So in my mind at this stage, those are the two people I'm looking at.
Keegs was posturing for this show before we knew this show existed. The show was thrown together in like 2 weeks. Keegs has been here, I don't know, however many months now. And she's been like, I think this actually answer the internet questions is if you could start one rumor about yourself, true or false, what would it be? Keegs' answer would be that I'm a witch because she's just been doing it. And she's so maniacal that it's kind of like, even I'm like, I don't think she is, but maybe. I guess she could be a witch, bro. I don't even know what that entails, but if anyone's a witch, it's Keegs.
She dove right into. I got to give her credit. I think of her as kind of, little like hoity-toity, but she just dove right into that bucket of water. Which I mean, they explained it, but they didn't quite dive in the drama. If you didn't realize, everybody putting one nip in, like I did you, you did me. And I did you, you did me. And it went around the whole circle. And Kelly breaking it and giving it back to Trista was the first time that we saw anything kind of like, ooh, shit. Like, she's throwing down the gauntlet. So she kind of made the first move to fuck somebody over. And then Trista goes ham in that. That was a very, very difficult challenge. I don't know if you've ever done bobbing for apples, bobbing for nips. Even harder, though. I mean, some people barely, like Tommy, I don't think got a single one out.
Well, they're arguing to him, Tommy did that intentionally. Now, I don't understand what that would even mean, but that was the only challenge I was upstairs for. I kind of removed myself after that one. And I'm watching it live. But afterwards, I went to Tommy. I was like, Tommy, you're the fucking reality show guy. I've never seen someone just straight up quit in the middle of the challenge. At one point, he wasn't trying anymore. He was just sitting crisscross applesauce by his bucket, and he kind of like just like shooed me away. And then later came up to my desk and goes, "Listen here, you stupid fucking idiot. I was losing on purpose so I could see what alliances were formed." I was like, maybe. I don't know.
He's a strategy guy.
He is a strategy guy.
You'll notice too, I think, for people watching, like there is a moment where everybody at one point does flip the switch of like there's the game and then there's like really playing the game. Like there's the doing it for the sake of because it's the show and there's $10,000. But everyone at the start, Trista definitely had it flipped. I think Dave maybe thought he had it flipped, but it was, I would say, Trista, Keegs, and Tommy were like, they were playing the game off the bat. Eventually, everyone does, but it took a little bit, I think, for a few people to kind of go, oh, like, this isn't just like you sit at your desk, oh, challenge, all right, come back down. Like, this is a thing. And it just, the paranoia built really quickly.
And like,
there's that someone, I just can't imagine Nick playing a game. So I will be stunned if Nick starts gaming. I just think Nick doesn't know how to do anything but bits. So I don't even know if he can game.
Nick,
you underestimate.
Nick, like everything else in Nick's life, I can't tell if he's real or not real, if it's a joke, if it's not a joke. Am I being laughed? Are you laughing at me? You laughing with me? He is capable of absolutely anything. He's just not as fucking crazy as someone like Kelly Keegs. He just does it with a smile on his face. So it's like, oh, okay. And then you start to realize, like, there's playing the game, like you said. Then there's playing the game, and then there's playing the game. Like, there's levels to it where it's like all of a sudden they're playing, basically 24 hours a day, where every word coming out of your mouth is carefully chosen and on purpose and deliberate. So the first real strategy move we saw, Jeff, is Trista offering up the alliance to Kelly. Now, when I as a host, I said it straight up, like, don't think it's going to be Kelly, because at that point, again, Kelly made the first move to fuck her over, and it was like there was tension. It was awkward, and it was like, oh, we're going to get some cat fight here. I really did not think that was happening, but Trista flips the script and goes with the girl alliance. What'd you think of that, Jeff?
Well, you saw Kelly's confessional. She's like, Trista knew like that if she didn't get the immunity necklace tonight, I would have voted her out. I think Trista probably overplayed her hand by doing that. Like, I think she maybe was going for like, all right, like we kind of had an argument here. Like, let's make a truce. Let's just go into the Nav lounge or whatever. And I think Keegs kind of just sniffed that out right away. Kind of she called bullshit on that. I think that she
listen back. She
has it.
She says, "I'm down for the truce tonight." Like it wasn't, a huge alliance. She was like, "Yeah, I'll take a fucking, I'll sleep in the comfy bed tonight," which also was a thing. I mean, Tommy grabbed a couch in the PMT lounge. Everybody else was running on like 2 hours sleep. If you notice, if you follow along on Twitter, Tom Scabelli tweeted, "I got 7 hours of sleep. I told everyone I got 2." He's such
yeah.
an asshole, but it was a big deal. The sleep situation was a big deal. So
they didn't show Nick and Donnie how to think Camp Dick. It's in like the far back corner. It's in like the one part of the office that like no one has ever seen on camera. If you watch Barstool content, no camera would ever go back there. It's actually across from where they shoot advisors and stool streams, and they slept back there. And that is Mice Alley. Like Zaz said, you could hear, and Nick said you could hear the mice running by at night.
Yeah, it was.
All that stuff is. I guess it's because I'm just not normal. But, like, everyone being like, whoa, I only got an hour of sleep. Like, why? Why don't you just sleep?
Well, because you are like Jason Bourne and you can just sleep on a hardwood floor at,
I'll never get that.
Two things that did not really make the cut. They were all finished the first night. I mean, everybody was just hammered. So the hangover the next day was very real. I think a lot of people actually liked the dunking their heads in the water to help the hangover. And two, the sheer number of White Sox Dave and Trista having sex jokes, it must have been in the thousands. I mean, everyone was just talking about those two banging left. And probably me, I probably made like 990 of those jokes, but everybody else was jumping on with that too. So, the sleep was a big deal early on. So the lounge was huge. She got her clothes. She got, she got to chill out and have some New Amsterdam cocktails. But Jeff, you think that was a misplay? Who would you have given the lounge to?
At that point, I honestly think give it to Tommy at that point. I think Tommy, again, I think Tommy is the target. Tommy's the survivor guy. This is his dream.
You gotta remember, dude. I mean, yes, you're right to say that, but these guys, like, they didn't realize that or know that.
They maybe didn't.
A lot of veterans did.
But I think if you bring him in that room, you immediately put the target on his back. He would have been furious too. He would have been so mad. He did not want the idol off the bat. He didn't want immunity at all from that challenge. He didn't want it. And so for him to have then been given the reward from Trista, that'd have been the best move, because she would have completely put a target in the back, and he would have been so fucking mad, because he knows that he would have tried so hard to avoid it and still would have been thrown in that situation.
That's why that's like Tommy intentionally throws a challenge because he doesn't want it. He doesn't want the target, but he's so sure that he's safe for the first night. And that's why if you just voted him off, it would have been fucking amazing.
The best thing that happened to Tommy was Glennie Balls not doing this competition, because Glennie Balls knows Survivor. And when Glennie was supposed to go on this trip, the interview didn't even happen, and he came back and he's like, "Hey, how's this going? Like, what's up with this?" And I kind of told him what happened the first night and all that. He goes, "They didn't get Tommy off," and he was like, Glennie would have figured all that shit out right away, and that definitely helped Tommy in at least night one. You got to keep tuning in to find out, but that Glennie would have really disrupted, because Glennie knows Survivor. He wouldn't have put up with any shit.
I mean, I guess I was just going to say the best thing that happened to Tommy was White Sox Dave was born. But yeah, that also, the Glennie's trip also helps. But it was awesome watching them. I think it's perfect that it was Dave to leave, because of what he'd been saying just the whole episode. White Sox Dave needs to make a T-shirt that says "Glue Guy," and he wasn't lying. He was the glue guy, but he was the glue guy like Herb Brooks was the glue guy of the 1980 Russian team. Everyone hated him.
Right.
It was like, oh yeah, I bring everyone together on his taste for me.
He should be, I don't know how much he wants to do this again, but he should be very careful how much he celebrates the fandom he got from this episode, because he will be finding himself right back here for next season. He will absolutely have some sort of redemption arc. That happens all the time in these shows. Dave will be right back in, sleeping on the office floor next time.
I was impressed with, look at that, Cowboy. I mean, forever got a new nickname, a new look. A couple quotes came out of it. The end there, throwing a dip in was unbelievable.
Is that even his hat? There's been a dirty cowboy hat lying around the office for 2 years now. I think that's what he's wearing. It may be his.
Definitely that hat.
Okay. Yes, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's always around the office. Yeah.
I don't know it, but I just knew that's where you got that. For sure.
I was very impressed in the early going with Brianna, new girl to the office, young girl, and came in very serious, knew what was going on, saw right through a lot of the bullshit. So I think a lot of Barstool fans don't quite know her yet, and I think they're getting a real taste of she's a no nonsense bitch who's ready to fucking rock. The girls are, I mean, an alliance of Kelly, who we said is an absolute fucking lunatic, Brianna, who we can tell now is no nonsense, and Trista, who is a monster at challenges. The chicks stick together. You're going to see some flames. You're going to see some fireworks.
Hard for personalities like that to stick together on a show like
this.
I
mean, that's like girls in general. I mean, can girls ever coexist? If they could, they could probably take
the guys are the exact opposite. The funny thing is, you did mention Nick. Nick is not as much of an advantage, because with the typical Nick's doing a bit thing. Tommy knows Nick really well. He can kind of figure out when Nick's being serious, and Donnie knows Nick very well. So I think Nick, you're going to see a little bit of a different Nick Tarani than maybe people expect, because Tommy and Donnie are going to see kind of right through if he's just trying to be kind of off the cuff, a new untold story type shit. He's going to have to be normal Nick. And that's going to be a bit of a difference for people.
Does anybody know what normal Nick means?
I think they do. I'm telling you, it's not. He does not have that. Maybe he has it over Za. Za, I think, will be perplexed by him the entire time. But yeah,
I'm perplexed by him at all times. He's the last guy I would ever want to be on a mental warfare game. I don't even know what normal is. If his normal could be so far from real normal, it's absolutely crazy. I'm looking through Twitter here, some comments. Big mistake voting off White Sox Dave. It'll come back to haunt them. That is the case. You get the jury to come back in the end. So they get to make the final decision. I mean, it's kind of tough when every single person voted for you, though, Cowboy. I mean, how much revenge can you exact?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was it was so beautiful. Yeah, I don't think it had even crossed his mind until you said it, that he might be getting it off. You like the Rounders, you're like, if you can't spot the soccer table, it might be you. Like that was like a mind blown moment for him. Like, wait, I guess they could be voting for me.
The memes for the Cowboy, the glue guy, are flowing right now on Twitter. He said that to me at one point. He was like, I didn't even consider it until you said that, and then I realized I was fucked. I was like, yep. Making the merge on Twitter. Somehow, some way, Tom Scabelli didn't make himself a target despite having the knowledge and the idol. He set himself up nicely. Yeah, you got to give it to Tommy. That first episode he played masterfully. A lot of people saying I think that Brianna Chicken Fry is an early favorite. I'm ready for Brianna Chicken Fry to go on.
I don't think Chicken Fry did anything poorly, but what about that episode makes you think she's a favorite? Not you personally, obviously. I'm saying like,
yeah. I mean, I think anybody who showed a level of like shrewdness on this seems to have a leg up. You know, it was either we're not really featured on this episode, you were kind of just like, you know, dopey, happy go lucky there for the ride, or you had a confessional moment or something like, I'm ready to fucking go. How long did you guys want up for? I'm telling you, the amount of jokes, man. I was like, these two gotta bang. Just do it for the story. Just for the fucking joke.
What was I gonna say? See, I keep thinking that the best you said some people saw some strategy from Chicken Fry. I keep thinking that the best strategy is Nick's strategy, and I think that's twofold because one, like we were saying at the start of the show, like Nick is just like, I don't care. And he's believably saying, I do not give a shit about this. And I think that helps you because like we just said to start, that like people don't want you to achieve your dream. So if you don't care, you're more likely to be, well, we don't give a shit if he wins. He doesn't even want to. And then two, it like makes me think of when I was younger and we played poker at my friend's house. And they stopped when we played poker. We were in like 5th grade, like playing for pennies. And I was just like, I don't fucking care. And people kept thinking I was bluffing and shit like that. I was like, no, I just don't fucking care about playing this. I don't want to play. Like, I don't want to be here. And they're like, all right, like you can't play anymore because you keep winning because of that. I think that's going to happen with Nick too.
It's wild card. Yeah, it's like you can't get a read on someone who's just not playing logically at all. You can't logically apply any thought to him if he's behaving totally irrationally.
I'd be like, I'm bluffing. I have nothing here. I'm just trying to lose my money so I can go watch TV. And they'd be like, oh, I don't know. I think he's fucking playing us over here. They're like, God damn it! No, I want to go home. I think Nick's in that category right now.
All right, so we got a lot of people seem to be asking in the chat and on Twitter, what time next week, brother? This is all week. Tomorrow night you get another episode. We're doing this all week long, every single night this week, 7:00.
And good one.
On Thursday, it's the live announcement of who the winner is. So only right now, a couple producers and cameramen know who won. But that'll be announced on Thursday live, and then we have another after show as well. I just threw this idea together to do after shows every single night because I know people are going to want to talk about it. So each night after the show, we'll have me and Feits and another viewer on, and then on Thursday for the after show, we'll bring everybody back who will have seen everything in the confessionals and will have seen everything that went on.
Which means Dave will be back, right? Like I think Dave will be back live in New York, right?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Dave Cowboy will be back. So should be interesting. Fireworks going to fly. But I think tonight
we could do that just right into Rough and Rowdy. 24 hours of fighting each other into Rough and Rowdy. Because
honestly, this is like Rough and Rowdy. It's not. You're not going to get a broken nose, but you're walking out of there broken mentally and emotionally. So look, that last quote from Dave. I have no idea who anyone is voting for. It's like, yeah, dude, that's because it's fucking you.
Yeah, because they've all been picking random names to tell you.
Oh my god,
that's why.
Classic. So every episode's about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll do the after show directly after. So mix up your New Amsterdam cocktails every night, 7:00, Surviving Barstool. And according to Logan here, who is our executive producer on this episode, is incredible.
It is.
It's when shit gets real.
I think if I can interject, I believe Logan is technically the producer. I think EPs don't show up really. EPs kind of just a rubber stamp, like a
they spun
and all the seasons of True Detective.
I'll say this, and I helped a very little bit. Logan, Corey, Rob, like the people behind the scenes, what they did, it made me really realize quick. And like I've watched Survivor since the first season, since the Richard Hatch season. Like I love this show, but it really made me appreciate how important like producers are behind the scenes on this show in general. Like I know producers are important, but like this show, for knowing every move to make sure they get every little detail down, to make sure they get that shot of White Sox Dave ready when he finds out Logan and they fucking crushed it. They crushed it.
At no point.
Also, we said.
Wait, let me just say, because to piggyback on what Jeff said, usually I feel like on The Bachelor and other shows, the producers are the ones like creating the drama and the content and needling people. It was wild how much we got these guys in a room and they just went. They got shit-faced. They started laughing. They started telling funny stories. They started backstabbing alliances. I don't think the producers had to capture everything, but I don't think they had to be like, we got to go stir up drama because nothing's happening. No. It's human nature. You get these type of personalities, a bunch of Barstool personalities in a room, and it's fucking fireworks.
Nothing was stirred up, and it was. They were so good at creating that shit on their own that it was literally you had to like make sure you found them to like find the moments because like they were so covert. Like I'm telling you, episode 2, like the game was on here. The game is on in episode 2. Like no bullshit. Anyone who might have had doubts, that's out the window. It was nuts. They did shit that I didn't even expect.
I was gonna make the same exact point you were making, Kevin, as I talked over you. It was like it was crazy how quickly from the moment they got in there, and I guess people probably come talk to us. Obviously, you're producing or whatever, hosting the show, and like I would just keep having people come over my corner to like vent. Like I was a therapist. I'm like Nick, guys. I don't fucking care right now. Like, I want to watch the show live. I want to see it all happen. Don't come over to my desk and tell me. But it was like a therapist door. Like someone would just come sit in Keith's chair and be like, so you're never going to guess what happened last night. They're all very, I think there are going to be legitimate friendships and working relationships ruined for this.
And if not, it's going to take a lot of therapy to fix it because shit gets.
Or lying, pretending that they're okay.
Right. Oh, it was just for show. It was just for, it was just for the cameras. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Trista's in the chat. Good job, girl. You killed it in that challenge. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:00 for the episode. Every episode's around like 25, 30 minutes, and we'll do the after show directly after each episode. So we'll be back tomorrow for another edition of Surviving Barstool and the after show. Drink your New Amsterdam vodka and tweet us. Get at us with questions and comments, and we'll get it read on the after show tomorrow night. See you tomorrow.
Wait, no, because we have to do this for 9 more seconds. Like this is perfect timing. 30 minutes.
30 seconds. So just a little tip of the cap for the glue guy.